Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everybody. Today we're going deep on a topic that's super close to my heart, and it's something that you guys have been asking about a lot lately. We're diving into the world of curiosity. You know, that drive we all have to learn and explore and figure things out. Yeah, that thing. You guys have sent over tons of interesting research on it, and well, today we're going to unpack all of it.
Sounds good to me.
So, we're going to try to really get a handle on what exactly curiosity is, how it's different from just being interested in something, and why it's so crucial to how we learn. It really is at the core of how we make sense of the world around us.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating is that curiosity is something that's been with us for a long time, even way back when our ancestors were just, figuring things out.
Right.
So imagine, our early ancestors coming face to face with something totally new and unknown. Maybe it's like a strange animal they've never seen before or a plant they don't
Oh,
recognize.
yeah. Makes sense.
That lack of information, not knowing what it was or what it could do, well, that would create uncertainty. And uncertainty for our ancestors could be dangerous.
Definitely. Could be the difference between a good meal and, well, something a lot worse.
Exactly. So in that context, you can almost think of curiosity as a kind of survival instinct. It pushed them to figure out what was going on, to reduce that uncertainty and make sure they were safe.
It's like our brains are wired to be problem solvers right from the start.
And it wasn't just about staying safe either. It was about thriving. So figuring out if a new plant was edible meant a potential new food source. Discovering if a certain animal was dangerous meant knowing what to avoid. All this new information helped them adapt and survive in a constantly changing environment.
So it's not just idle nosiness, like, oh, I wonder what that is. It's a deep-seated drive that helped our species make it this far.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting is that this drive to know, to explore, is deeply connected to our biology. We're talking about specific parts of the brain and brain chemicals that get activated when we're curious.
Oh, so there's a real physical basis for this urge.
Exactly. For example, the hippocampus, which is crucial for forming memories, seems to play a big role in curiosity. Then you have systems involving chemicals like noradrenaline and dopamine. Noradrenaline helps us focus our attention, and dopamine is all about reward and pleasure.
Okay, so curiosity isn't just a mental thing. It's tied to our brain chemistry.
Right. And get this, some research even suggests that activating these systems through curiosity might have a positive effect on brain health as we age.
Wow. So staying curious could actually be good for us in the long run. I like the sound of that.
It's a fascinating area of research. And if we step back and look at the big picture, it seems that evolution has wired our brains to make getting information rewarding. Think about it. Why do we get excited about learning new things, even if they don't have an obvious practical use?
Yeah, why do we spend hours reading about ancient history or learning a new language or watching documentaries about, I don't know, the mating habits of deep-sea creatures?
Yeah. Exactly. There's often no immediate benefit to knowing this stuff. And even sometimes there's a risk involved, like exploring a new, potentially dangerous environment. But still, we do it. And babies are a great example, too. They're constantly exploring and trying to figure things out long before they can understand how that knowledge might be useful. This suggests that there's something intrinsically rewarding about learning itself, that it's not just about gaining a practical advantage.
So it's like our brains are hardwired to seek out and enjoy information, like it's a basic need right up there with food and water.
Precisely. And there's research that directly supports this. Our brain has a reward center called the nucleus accumbens, right? Well, studies show that when we're curious, when we're anticipating learning something new, like the answer to a trivia question, or when we're about to see a blurry image come into focus, this area lights up.
Oh, wow. And that's the same area that gets activated by things like food or, other pleasurable activity. So our brains literally light up when we're learning new things.
Exactly. It's like our brains are getting a little treat every time we satisfy our curiosity. And it's not just when we get the answer either. Even just the anticipation that I'm about to learn something new, feeling, can trigger this response.
So you mentioned this idea of a cognitive appetite.
Hmm.
It seems like that's really fitting here. Is that what researchers are actually calling it?
It is, and the metaphor is really quite accurate. Think about hunger, that feeling of lacking food. It creates an appetite, a drive to seek out and eat until you're full, right?
Makes sense. You're hungry, so you eat. Pretty straightforward.
Well, uncertainty, a lack of information, seems to work the same way. It ignites our curiosity, which drives us to explore and learn until we fill that knowledge gap and we feel satisfied. You can almost think of it like a mental itch that needs scratching.
And just like with food, the anticipation of learning something new can be really exciting. It's like knowing you're about to have your favorite meal.
Precisely. And that cycle of satisfying our curiosity can actually lead to developing a deeper interest in something, just like repeatedly trying a certain food can lead to developing a taste for it. You start with that initial curiosity, and then as you learn more, it can blossom into a real passion.
Okay, so it's not just about finding a quick answer. It can be the start of a lifelong journey of learning and discovery. But are there any downsides to this constant need to know? Is there ever a point where curiosity can be a bad thing?
That's a great question. And like anything, there can be downsides if it's not managed well. If we get fixated on a question that's just way too hard to answer, or if we keep digging into something that's causing us more anxiety than satisfaction, then yeah, curiosity can become a problem.
So it's about finding that balance.
Exactly. We need to be mindful of our own limits and not let curiosity lead us down rabbit holes that we're not equipped to handle. And sometimes it's okay to just say, you know what, I don't need to know everything about this right now.
That's a good reminder for me. But going back to the positive side of curiosity, how does it actually affect our learning?
Well, one really important aspect is that curiosity seems to make us better at remembering information. Think about it. When you're genuinely curious about something, you're naturally more engaged, you're paying closer attention, and you're actively trying to make connections. This helps the information stick in your mind.
So it's not just about passively taking in information. It's about actively seeking it out.
Right. And when we're curious, we tend to use more effective learning strategies. For instance, we're more likely to ask questions, which helps us clarify our understanding. We're also more likely to test out our ideas and see if they actually work, which helps us learn from our mistakes.
It sounds like curiosity turns learning into more of a dynamic process rather than just memorizing facts.
Absolutely. It makes learning an adventure, a quest for knowledge. And the more curious we are, the more exciting that adventure becomes.
Now, you mentioned earlier that curiosity is different from just being interested in something. Can we unpack that a bit more?
Sure, it's an important distinction. A lot of times, the terms curiosity and interest are used interchangeably, but they are distinct concepts. Curiosity is more about that specific need to fill a knowledge gap, that itch we talked about. Interest, on the other hand, is a broader attraction to a particular topic or activity. You can be interested in something without necessarily feeling curious about it at a specific moment.
Okay, so interest is more of a general preference or liking.
Exactly. So, for example, you might be interested in space exploration, but you might not be actively curious about, say, the latest findings from the Mars rover until you see a headline about it.
Right, so the headline sparks your curiosity, but your underlying interest in space exploration was already there.
Precisely. And understanding this difference is crucial, especially when it comes to education.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, if we try to spark someone's curiosity by just throwing a bunch of information at them about a topic they're not already interested in, it's unlikely to stick. It's like trying to force someone to eat a food they don't like.
Right, it's not going to be very enjoyable or effective.
Exactly. So when it comes to learning, it's important to first cultivate an interest in the topic. This might involve showcasing its relevance to their lives, highlighting its exciting aspects, or connecting it to their existing passions.
So we need to make it appealing first, and then the curiosity can naturally follow.
Precisely. And once that spark of curiosity is ignited, we can nurture it by creating opportunities for exploration, encouraging them to ask questions, and providing them with the resources they need to find the answers. It's about setting up an environment where curiosity can flourish.
And that's where things like hands-on activities, group projects, and even just encouraging kids to ask why more often come in.
Absolutely. It's about creating a culture of inquiry where asking questions and seeking knowledge is valued and celebrated.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you also mentioned that there's actually more than one type of curiosity. Can you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Researchers have identified two main types of curiosity: forward curiosity and backward curiosity.
Okay, forward and backward. Those sound intriguing.
They are. So, forward curiosity is what we usually think of when we talk about curiosity. It's that drive to learn new things, to explore the unknown, to figure out what's going to happen next. It's driven by a desire for novelty and a sense of anticipation.
So it's that feeling of, I want to know what's over there, or I can't wait to see what happens next.
Exactly. It's about exploring and discovering new possibilities, and it's often triggered by things that are surprising, unexpected, or just plain interesting.
Like a mystery novel where you can't wait to find out who the killer is.
Exactly. Or a documentary about a place you've never been to. It's that anticipation that keeps you engaged.
Okay, I think I have a good grasp on forward curiosity. So what about backward curiosity? How is that different?
Well, backward curiosity is more about understanding why things are the way they are. It's triggered by things that don't make sense, by gaps in our knowledge, by inconsistencies, or by surprises that violate our expectations.
So it's more about seeking explanations than just new information.
Precisely. It's about filling in the missing pieces of the puzzle, figuring out the underlying causes and mechanisms.
Like trying to figure out why a magic trick works, or why a certain historical event happened the way it did.
Exactly. It's that aha moment when you suddenly understand something that previously seemed confusing.
Okay, so forward curiosity is about what? And backward curiosity is about why. That's a really helpful way to think about it.
It is, and both types of curiosity are important for learning. Forward curiosity helps us expand our knowledge base, explore new ideas, and make connections. Backward curiosity helps us deepen our understanding, challenge our assumptions, and refine our mental models of how the world works.
So they work together to help us build a more complete and nuanced understanding of the world.
Precisely, it's like having two different lenses through which to view the world. And by using both, we can see things in a much richer and more meaningful way.
Now, are there any ways to intentionally spark these different types of curiosity in ourselves and others?
Absolutely. For forward curiosity, it's often about presenting novel or intriguing information, posing open-ended questions, or creating opportunities for exploration and discovery. Think of things like field trips, science experiments, or even just encouraging kids to ask what-if questions.
So it's about providing the space and the tools for exploration and letting their natural curiosity take over.
Exactly. And for backward curiosity, it's often about presenting information that's surprising, counterintuitive, or that challenges existing beliefs. You can also use thought-provoking questions that encourage them to think critically and consider different perspectives.
So it's about shaking things up a bit, making them question what they thought they knew.
Exactly. And one really effective way to do this is through what's called cognitive dissonance. This is where you present information that contradicts their existing beliefs or understanding.
So you're intentionally creating a mental conflict.
Precisely. This conflict creates a sense of discomfort that motivates them to resolve it by seeking out new information or reevaluating their existing beliefs.
Okay, that sounds a bit like a mind game, but I can see how it could be powerful.
It can be. And it's often used in things like debates, persuasive writing, and even therapy.
So it's about making them think harder and dig deeper to find the truth.
Exactly. And this deep thinking is essential for developing critical thinking skills and a more nuanced understanding of complex issues.
Wow, this is all incredibly insightful. We've covered a lot of ground here, from the evolutionary roots of curiosity to the different types of curiosity and how to spark them. What are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
Well, first and foremost, remember that curiosity is a natural and powerful drive that's essential for learning and growth. It's not just about acquiring knowledge. It's about actively engaging with the world around us, seeking out new experiences, and constantly asking questions.
Right, it's about embracing that itch and seeing where it leads.
Exactly. And remember that there are different types of curiosity, each with its own strengths and triggers. By understanding these differences, we can be more intentional about how we spark and nurture curiosity in ourselves and others.
And it's not just about kids in school either. This applies to all of us, regardless of age or background.
Absolutely. Curiosity is a lifelong journey, and it's never too late to start exploring.
So for all of you listening out there, what are some why questions that you're currently pondering? What are some things that have sparked your curiosity lately? We'd love to hear your thoughts and maybe even dive deeper into some of those questions in a future episode. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep that curiosity alive. Until next time.
See you then.
Bye.